Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Do We Know Them? I am Jessi Smiles.
And I'm Lily Marston. Cheers, we've made it to episode 3, and
Cheers.
Hopefully this is a Sunday that this has come out.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't really want to torture you guys with the details of why our last episode came out on Monday instead of Sunday, but let's just say it was a long, excruciating journey. It involved tears. I thought Lily was going to just jump out her apartment window. It was bad.
I didn't cry, but that was only because I was so tired and dehydrated that there was no tears.
How many times have you and I been involved in a project that involved you not sleeping?
Do you want to really get specific on that?
No specifics. Just wondering. Literally every time Lily's helping me or we're doing something together, it just involves her. It's always horrible for you. I don't know why. The point is that we definitely tried. We filmed one day late because of my COVID and strep, debacle. Or I don't know why I always use that word. That's not the right word. But
I like
you guys
the word
were
debacle.
so sweet, by the way. Everybody was so nice. Like, thank you for filming, even though you had COVID and strep. Guys, we're very serious about this. And if you're wondering, I'm not feeling that much better. I don't know. I was sure that like once the fever was gone, like I was good. And it turns out I still feel like shit. And I'm still testing positive. So
It's funny because even your mom actually responded to one of my stories. I'm trying to pull it up right now. What? I DM with so many people. I respond to so many stories.
when I'm drunk, I respond to stories. It's disgusting. Everybody's story is a close friend story, and it's made just for me.
Same. Like, it'll be people from like high school people that I've not talked to in forever, and I'm like, oh my god, so cute, love that. And then, but the thing is, I'm not drunk. I have not been drinking.
Yeah.
This actually, cheers, is the first time that I'm drinking, and I couldn't even tell you when.
No Coors lattes?
I mean, I still will drink them, but when I discovered that I could drink Truly and they don't make me sick, for anyone watching, I found out like halfway through college that I would get violently ill if I drank anything, basically, until I discovered light beer, which I think essentially because it's like water, my stomach is okay with because it's not a ton at a time. Turns out hard seltzers are also literally like beer. So I can drink them and they taste like soda.
I know you've done like sponsorships with Truly and stuff, but I fucking hate Truly, Lily.
Oh, this isn't. I fucking wish this was sponsored.
You did a sponsorship with like their lemonade once, and I remember I bought it just because of you. And then when I tasted it, it tasted like toilet water.
Oh my god, are you kidding? I love them. Literally, like that's this is my. If someone goes like, "Oh, you like hard seltzer? What do you want me to get?" This would be my first thing. I specifically like the strawberry lemonade.
It's probably because you don't have the same, like, the fake sugar, like aspartame. If I even taste that in anything, I cannot drink it, and Truly's loaded with
That
it.
probably
Like, I
is
can't.
literally just like in my blood, like running
Maybe.
through normally.
Tastes like hot ass. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry. We go on tangents
Yeah,
here.
no, I was trying to find the DM from your mom because she was concerned that you were sick too.
Yeah, no, my mom has been in shambles ever since I was sick. Like, I see my mom all the time, and it's been like a month since I've seen my mom because right before I got COVID, she was sick, and we're very dependent on each other, and so she's been having a horrible time.
I think I said this the last time, but I just love your mom.
She's the best.
I flash back to that time we were, she was visiting and we all went to the movies and the cab driver was also Cuban, and your mom and you and the cab driver, and I think your brother was with us too. All of you just started, it was like you were yelling in Cuban, and your mom was
So
like,
just talking.
but no, yelling. And your mom was like doing it more because then you were all just making fun of me because I couldn't understand.
Oh, love that. Let's get into today's episode, which is about God knows what.
I was like, what is it about, Jessi? Please tell us.
We have no fucking idea what to do today's episode on, but you know what? This is the reality of doing a weekly episode. On my main channel, I don't know how you feel, Lily, but I definitely am a lot more, that's why I never upload. I'm like, if I don't have anything to say, I'm just not gonna fucking say it. Like I'm not gonna sit here and try to force something out. But when you're doing drama videos or talking about online happenings, sometimes there ain't much happening. And this is a dry week.
Well, and I think that in the long run, we would like to be able to do more like evergreen topics that are not just like something that happened this week. We can talk about more like a general issue that applies, or like an old drama that's kind of happened years ago that we can bring back up. But I feel like we need to first get an audience before we can do that. So we need to kind of unfortunately stick to the more trending things.
Well, I mean, that's what I like. I like to consume like trending topics and stuff. And I always notice when there's a dip in online activity, and this week has just been super dry. After Ace Fest, everything was crickets, and I feel like there's not much going on. However, there's a few like miscellaneous topics that we didn't mention because like we didn't feel like they were whole video worthy or whatever. So I feel like this is kind of what we're gonna do when it's lower topic weeks, is we're just gonna kind of compile a bunch of random shit to talk about and talk about that, or we'll pick a topic of something else.
It'll start as a bunch of random topics, but then it'll turn into like one that we talk about for 5 hours, and then
Possibly, yeah.
who knows?
We're a fucking mess.
Yeah. So what should we discuss first?
Okay, so this was not supposed to be a topic at all. This was not even in the realm of topics that we were going to talk about. But when we were preparing for this video, or this podcast, I suppose is what this is that we're doing here, I brought up, what's her fucking name? Christy Carlson Romano?
Honestly, when you were just introducing it, I had already forgotten what we had talked about, and I was like, shit, what was it? Yes. Okay, Christy Carlson Romano, the star of Even Stevens. But before we even dive in, we do want to start doing this every episode. We just keep forgetting. To start each topic with a, do we know them? Because that is the whole concept and title of the show.
Yeah.
This one is not a yes, but it's not a no.
The other day I was on Facebook, where all good things happen, and I saw videos of hers. She's essentially just walking in a park, and she was answering why she's not friends with Shia LaBeouf, which I thought was like, I was like, okay, girl, like, who asked? But like, whatever, okay. But no, Christy Carlson Romano, hate, question mark? Like, I don't really know anything about her. I'm not like here to just be a bitch. But anyway, when I saw it, I got a weird vibe. Everyone was super eating it up in the comments. Everyone was like, oh my God, like, you're so classy, and the way you explain it is like, so I was like, okay. But I got a weird vibe. And if there's something, listen, it's every fucking time that I get a vibe, I'm always right. Okay, I'm not here to claim that I'm some sort of witch or something, but every fucking time, there doesn't have to be anything that happens, but when I feel a weird vibe about someone, it's always confirmed. So anyway, then you fast forward, and there was another video that popped up from Christy Carlson Romano, and it was about how she was supposed to be, what was the role? Anne Hathaway, the Princess of Genovia? What's the
I didn't know that was it. I feel like there was also one
What's that
about
movie?
she like Princess Diaries.
Princess Diaries. She's talking about how she was supposed to get that role. And I was like, girlfriend, that gives me very much Madison Beer. I was supposed to be in the video vibes.
I feel like I hate saying this because then everyone on Twitter is like, you're lying, I hate you. I was supposed to be in the video.
Really? Who are you gonna be?
So it's hilarious to me that you found it on Facebook, because she's been uploading those on YouTube for quite a while, because okay.
I love that there's Christy Carlson Romano lore that I had no idea about. Like, I love this.
The fact that you brought her up and I have personal context to add to it is the strangest coincidence. I mean, honestly, I've had a lot of strange coincidences in my life lately, but this is probably up there. Years ago, probably like 3 years ago now. Do you remember there was the trend, Ryan Trahan actually started it, who just did the penny to Mr. Beast challenge, which... Did you watch that?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my God, I highly recommend. It's Ryan Trahan. He's great. And he did a 30-day challenge where, you know, the penny challenge where you start with a penny and you trade up to try and make more money.
Oh, I've heard of stuff like that, yeah.
So he did it, but he did it in a way that he was going to deliver a beast from California to North Carolina to bring it to Mr. Beast. And then he vlogged every single day. So it was basically like Vlogmas meets penny challenge. Anyway. Tangent. He, back in the day, he comes up with a lot of creative ideas, and he was the one that came up with, I DM'd 100 celebrities to see who responded.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And my old coworker, Renee, texts me and she goes, oh my God, you have to do this. I would do it, but I'm not verified, and I feel like you would have better luck. And I looked at it, I was like, I don't want to do that. She goes, we'll get drunk. And I was like, fuck it, fine, sure, come over, let's do it.
Oh, I remember your video now. It's all coming together, yeah.
You could go watch it if you want. Don't really recommend, because I think it's the drunkest I've been on camera. By the end of it, I'm not making any sense. At one point in it, we mentioned that we wanted to message Christy Carlson Romano, and we were gonna...
Literally, why?
Honestly, because 100 does not seem like a lot, but once you start doing it, it got to the point that we were like, who the fuck else do we message?
I don't mean this in a mean way. It's just that I actually forgot she existed right the second after I stopped watching Even Stevens. Like, I've never thought of her or like anything.
It must have been like we were looking through like old Disney people or something.
Perhaps.
I honestly,
Okay.
I don't even care enough to look what brought it up, but I very much like Christy Carlson Romano, and I say it in the video, but my ADHD is so bad and I was drunk and I forgot, and we were just like doing a bunch of stuff, so I didn't actually message her. But then when I was editing, I noticed that I mentioned her name, and I was like, oh my God, shit, why didn't I message her during? So I was like, well, what if I message her now just to include it because I had a funny question to ask? I don't usually fake my videos. There's not much to fake. But this one I was like, maybe I can add it in and make it seem like we did it that night. Little did I know, Christy Carlson Romano would not only read my message, but respond to it the same day, I think. I'll have to pull it up. My question was, I believe, can you confirm, did we land on the moon in, did you watch the musical episode?
No.
You were not a big Even Stevens fan, clearly.
Oh, wait. You're talking about Even Stevens? No, I don't. I mean, I've watched like so many episodes, but I don't recall a musical episode off the top of my head. Okay, stop putting pressure on
Even
me.
Stevens, I believe, is called The Influenza. And it was like, they were all sick, so basically hallucinating, and it turned into a musical.
Oh, that rings a bell.
And
That
they're
does
in a
ring bell.
classroom, and she has like a report on the moon landing, and she starts singing.
That does ring a bell, yes.
So this is, I just pulled it up. May 27th, 2019. And I go, was hoping you could tell me what year we went to the moon. I would have liked her to respond. It's something about like 1969 and not the year after or something. I was hoping she would respond with the line. But instead, the next, I guess not same day, next morning, she goes, LOL, we should do a YouTube collab sometime.
Okay. It's all coming together, Lily.
So this is 2019. And I was like, I'm dying because I did this for a YouTube video. You are a true icon. Because I really was an Even Stevens fan. And at the time, she wasn't really on YouTube. This was like literally right before she launched her YouTube channel. So she goes, thank you. For real, let's set something up. And I said, would love nothing more. And she gave her email address. That was also like right before, I don't know. I think I just like wasn't uploading much and I never reached out because I didn't have a reason to do it.
So you've never met her?
No. So after that was the extent of our conversation. But then if you look, her YouTube channel, I don't even think you saw the most dramatic of her YouTube headlines. It's how I lost all of my money. Why I don't talk to Shia LaBeouf. What Disney Channel made me say. What happened on the set of Cadet Kelly.
Listen, bitch, you don't get to ruin Cadet Kelly for me. You do not get to do that.
All those very dramatic ones didn't start until like 2021, and they all were these awkward walk and talk videos. But before that, she tried to make the whole YouTube channel be based like on general like Disney and like old teen nostalgia a month after she messaged me. So she had just been launching her YouTube channel and she clearly was looking for some promo. And I think I was not completely irrelevant at the time. I think it was right after I left Clever. So I probably was getting a lot of engagement and she was like, oh, this could help. Then again, I don't really know how that fits into her whole concept because she launches this channel under the show introducing Christy's Kitchen Throwback. So she then starts having on all these old Disney stars, which absolutely that makes sense. Like who else could do that other than Christy Carlson Romano? And actually she did have Joey Graceffa on pretty early, but you can even see that didn't do well compared to all of the other stuff.
So he felt into her clout goblin ways.
I could have been there too.
When you read your message, like that was just, it just clicked in my brain because that is the exact vibe that she gave me. Very much so like, let's get together and film a YouTube video. Like I hate that. I mean, listen, I get it. We're on the internet. Like we don't have to collaborate, but a lot of people do collaborate to like last on the internet. But like the vibe always like weirds me out when
it's like, you don't want to like meet up and like meet me first.
Of course they don't. She literally could not give a fuck less about you. Like it's just like so let's get together and film something.
See,
like,
that seems strange because like unless you like very like I know Christy Carlson Romano probably had never in her life seen a video of me, so it's not even like, oh, I feel like I know you. I wouldn't want to collab with someone random that I didn't know.
Am I incorrect? Like I know she did Cadet Kelly, I know she was in Even Stevens, and listen, there really is no good reason that I don't like her. And it's not that I don't like her. I feel like that's so dramatic. I really am not saying that I don't like Christy Carlson Romano. She gives me a weird vibe. And also, in addition, I feel like she just I don't know. Something rubs me the wrong way about her videos, especially the ones where later on, obviously not here, later on she's just walking in a park answering questions like why I'm not friends with Shia LaBeouf and telling people she was supposed to be the Princess of Genovia. I don't know. She just weirds me out.
So let's get to that really quick. Sorry, I'm taking so long. So basically you scroll through, she really keeps up the food thing and she honestly really commits to it. But then she decides, oh my God, it's hilarious because the one right before it has 12,000 views. And then she's like, fuck this. I'm going to spill. I don't know what she watched or who suggested this to her or what clicked in her brain to be like, oh my God, story times.
Well, I know what clicked in her brain. She saw the trend of story times on YouTube because that
I
was
guess,
like,
but that didn't start 11 months ago. So like,
no, yeah, I guess not.
like she could have started her YouTube channel with that, but she started it trying to be like still kind of, maybe she was hoping for some kind of like Disney revival of something and it never happened. But so 11 months ago, she uploads The Truth About the Disney Channel and that has 513,000 views.
Yeah, that's where it began.
The next one is Why I Ran Away from Hollywood, 430,000 views. Then the next two are huge. Why I Don't Talk to Shia LaBeouf Anymore got 2 million
that's
views.
the one I saw.
That obviously got for sure picked up by mainstream outlets and got shared a bunch of places. So that makes sense it did well. Next one is How I Lost All My Money, and the thumbnail is like Disney ears and money, and it's just like in flames.
The thing I didn't like about the Shia LaBeouf video is super clickbaity, and really her only answer was like, well, it's not that we're not friends, it's just that like, you know, we were just working together and then we didn't really talk after that. Like, we're just not that close.
Pretty much just like the standard, like, we were coworkers, but not best friends outside of work. And then we stopped working together and had no reason to see each other. And not like, we had this huge fight, which...
I mean, listen, every YouTuber has clickbaited to some extent. I just find it like, if I was Shia LaBeouf, I'd be like, that's weird, girl. Like, you could have kept that one in the drafts. Like, why'd you have to fucking do that?
You know, I think she probably did it because Shia LaBeouf feels like an easy target, because I do not think that man is on YouTube very often. And he has kind of a lot going on in his personal life. I don't even know what he's doing these days. Didn't he get in a lot of trouble?
I don't know. But I know that, like, that makes it almost weirder to me.
No, I was going to say, to me, it makes it more kind of like feel dirty, because I'm like, if he's like suffering with like major like addiction issues and like in the news already, why are you gonna bring this up?
That was the first video I ever saw of her. And yeah, on Facebook, I mean, Facebook people are brain dead. Like, everybody on that godforsaken website is just so awful. But like, the majority of the comments on Facebook were very supportive to her and like, oh my God, like, you're just so classy and this and that. And I'm like, are you guys like aware she gets paid for this? Like, a lot. Like,
I don't think people realize how much. And it's
maybe.
like 2 million views on a video. That's bringing in a good chunk of change.
Listen, this is not what this episode is about, okay? We're not here just to slander Christy Carlson Romano and ruin your childhood.
I almost would like to talk to her. I don't know if she'd be honest about it, but to be like, what inspired your change in content? Because it's such a hard left. And then
Come on, Lily.
It starts as like,
She's gonna be like, money.
maybe she has been wanting to do it for a long time, but has been like a little nervous to do it. I want to know what like pushed her over the edge. And also that they start very much about her, but then she starts bringing in other people. It's when she brings in the other people that it starts to get weird and kind of, it just feels kind of desperate. Again, like you said, every YouTuber does clickbait. I've clickbaited stuff, but usually not at the detriment of other people. And this isn't necessarily like the videos themselves aren't bad about the people, but for example, how Katy Perry got my record deal. Christy Carlson Romano, I do not believe for a second.
Oh my God, she's Madison beering it up. She's literally like, it was supposed to be me. Like,
I was supposed to be in the video.
Really?
And then exactly the one you brought up, how I lost the Princess Diaries to Anne Hathaway.
you lost it because Anne Hathaway's better.
Yeah.
She's the Princess of Genovia. So Christy, you know, I wish you well. And honestly, I don't know why I feel so strongly towards you. I don't know. You didn't do anything to me.
I think she even clickbaits poor Hillary Duff.
No, she doesn't. That's where I draw the line. Anyway, I feel like we're spending too long on this topic.
So weird, though, that you brought it up, and then I was like, oh my God, wait. Yes, I absolutely know who Christy Carlson Romano is.
Yeah, I don't know why I brought her up. I have no clue how we got here, but you know what? I'm glad we came. The next topic We're just coming up with stupid shit to talk about. The next topic that we should talk about is Addison Rae's father.
This isn't necessarily stupid shit. This is just like fucked.
Yeah, okay, guys, if you don't know who Addison Rae is, let's just start off with, do we know her? I do not know Addison Rae personally.
No, I've never met or seen her in person, nor do I know anyone. I'm sure I know people that have met her, but I do not have any mutual friends whatsoever.
At all. I want to say I don't really know much about this. The only thing that I've heard is kind of the whisperings around the interwebs, which is that essentially Addison Rae's dad is a super big fucking creep who is like creeping on young women. I mean, they're not minors or anything, but he's being super creepy. Last I heard, wasn't he married to fucking Addison's mom? And why is he so weird? And why am I hearing about her fucking dad? Let me tell you something right now, okay? We're gonna get into it. I don't know much about it. Lily, I think, knows more than I do. But what I do want to say right now is that if my father even thought about this, I would stick him in the nearest nursing home and I wouldn't let him out. This is so embarrassing.
And actually, I feel like you could probably give a good perspective because I feel like when you were first coming up, you were around the same age and he was coming to like events with you and stuff. So you might know a little more about like...
My mom actually went to more things than my dad did, but I feel like if it's a scenario where it's a family-friendly thing, like there's other parents there of like fans or something, or even if it is a playlist or whatever, that's fine.
The thing is that Addison Rae's dad is not going... These aren't industry events by any stretch. He's going to like clubs in LA and stuff.
Addison Rae's dad is trying to fuck me. I swear to God.
That is the fucking bingo right there, is that Addison Rae's dad, which I will not even learn his name. I just cannot be bothered. But he is going to events like he was at the press conference for Austin McBroom's boxing event. Okay, why the fuck are you there?
So odd.
Yeah, he was there.
And I'm sure he would play it off as like, I'm networking.
I think that he thinks that he's an influencer. And I think he thinks that he has in his own right gathered attention, just like Logan Paul's dad. Like he's very much giving JP coming at ya vibes. Obviously, Logan Paul's dad was way worse, like literally kissing underage girls and stuff for skits.
But even without any of the, like far before any of this cheating stuff or like him being creepy, can I just pull up this video for you to watch and tell me that you don't just... These alone, I don't know why Addison didn't draw the line at these, because they're the most embarrassing, cringy things ever. I'm not super familiar with her rise to fame, but I think a lot of her videos in the beginning got big because she did them with her mom, and her mom's like young and her dad's young too, so it's like they did like fun dances together. So it was like weird to see parents doing the dance, and it was like actual dances that like I can't learn any choreography, but like they were good at doing the dances, relatively speaking. There's a family TikTok, and then I think they both have their own accounts. So to your earlier point, yes, I do think he thinks he's an influencer. See, honestly, I'm bless the mom's heart because I feel very bad for what she's going through right now, but the mom dancing all the time, it makes me cringe as well.
Wait, what do you mean you feel bad? Did he cheat on her?
Yeah, so the story is that apparently relationship history wise, they've like gotten separated. I don't know if they've actually gotten divorced, but separated and back together before. And at this point in time, allegedly they were separated.
I know this is gonna sound so bitter, but like that is so cringe what they're doing. They're not harming anyone and they're not doing anything that's like illegal, and therefore I have to say rock on. But you know what, it does bother me for some reason. So they were separated, back together, it's safe to say a rocky relationship, and they very well may have been separated. And that's honestly irrelevant to the conversation, because the reason why people are even talking about Addison Rae's dad is because he's with all these like young girls, and there have been leaked DMs and leaked messages that are so cringe that they literally make me shrivel up into a dark hole. Like it is just so bad. So one of them was him basically telling a girl that like, you're gonna be the queen of like my empire.
Like you said, there's two reasons that people are mad, I guess. One of them could be irrelevant because maybe he wasn't cheating and it was either an open an open relationship or they were not together at the time. And also that he's been hitting on all these young girls, which aren't underage, but like look Addison's age, which make it creepy as well. And there's been videos from a few different girls, but mainly he has this one side chick that he's been having an affair with for like 5 months. And her name's Renee. And she is the one that has been posting a bunch about it afterwards.
Okay, so from my understanding, Addison Rae's dad, he was at like a club or a bar or something. He was hitting on a girl. Then he was being filmed by like that girl's friend of like, oh my God, Addison Rae's dad is trying to like pick up my friend. And then that got back to the girl that he was apparently dating. And so she went like off on Instagram stories and was like, heartbroken that he like played her.
And the girl that he'd been dating for a while is the text messages that you were just about to reference, where it's him being like, be the queen of my empire.
Motherfucker, your empire?
Honestly, I'm sure Addison's making a shit ton of money. I can't even imagine what her net worth is at this point. And I know she has a lot of deals that she's like, she has a deal with Netflix.
She has a fucking lip gloss. I have it right here.
She has her, she has her beauty stuff. Like she has a lot of hands into different things, but I guess you would call that an empire. But it's like,
it's not yours.
It's not like you're like Rihanna's kid where it's like you're set for life.
Although we will say that obviously Addison came from money. Like, obviously, she's privileged and they had money before she started the internet. I think that's pretty apparent.
True, which is ironic. I know they moved to LA for her to pursue it more. And I wonder,
like, that's such a privileged thing to do.
But I wonder in that move, did the parents, like, get new jobs? Did they do anything, or did they just then start relying on her? I can't imagine.
$1 million says that they manage her.
They don't strike me as the ones that are like, Addison, can you send me money for the power bill?
No, but they probably manage her and pull a Kris Jenner, and it's like 10% of everything.
Yeah, and manage her money. But for him to refer to it as an empire that then he would have access to, I don't think there's that much money, because he also refers to it as private jet money. Kylie Jenner just has, I mean, that's a whole story actually right now, that she apparently takes it from Camarillo to Van Nuys. But even the richest people don't have private jets. I'm not saying that Addison isn't on her way, but like he's so living in another reality, because he also tells the girlfriends, like, if you get paparazzi, don't say anything. Who the fuck is paparazziing this random lady you're having an affair with?
And also, it gives me very much vibes of like my uncle, who when we used to go on cruises, he would like sit in the club and watch his sons. Like he wanted them to like get girls, like, and he would just sit there like, did you talk to any girls? Like literally living through them. And that's how I feel Addison's dad is, but like he took it too far and he got too involved.
One of the creepiest things is then Tana Mojo goes on Jeff's podcast, and she had already said on her podcast way earlier, she had alluded to a TikTok parent that she had seen doing coke and like was out like trying to hook up with girls, but she didn't say who. Everyone I think kind of automatically assumed it was Addison's dad, but now that she went on Jeff's podcast, she didn't give a fuck, and she was just like, well, might as well say it all now. And she actually said that she thinks this is just the beginning and there's going to be a bunch more stuff that comes out, which I hope for Addison's sake that that's not the case.
I'm sure that Addison is super uncomfortable, and this also brought me back to a time where my cousin, actually, whom I do not speak to anymore, but he used to, unbeknownst to me, okay, we would take pictures together because he was my cousin. I mean, technically, I guess he's still my cousin, but he would take pictures with me. Like this was like in the prime Vine days, okay? I'm talking smack dab in the middle of everything. I couldn't go anywhere without people knowing who I was in Miami. It was like, it was insane. And he would take my pictures with him and put them on like Tinder. And then he would get girls who would be like, oh my God, you know Jessi? And he's like, that's my cousin. And that's how he would get girls. And when I figured that out, I was so fucking pissed. And I remember one of them was, she was the daughter of the inventor, not the inventor, but like the CEO of Vapor Shark, which was like one of the first like vape brands in Miami. And when she came over, like, she was just like, obviously a little giddy, like, I don't know, like she was giving me the vibe. I'm like, I think she might know me or whatever. And it turns out she did. And that's how he got her. And so like he would just bring girls over to my home who he met because they were fans of mine.
So I was thinking about that with Addison's dad, because I'm like, if he uses that as like what Addison Rae fan would like be like, yeah, I'm gonna hook up with Addison's dad in order to meet. I feel like that's like a line that most people would be like, oh, I don't think so.
There's girls that would be interested in Addison Rae's dad just because of his money, like not even anything to do with Addison Rae. There's obviously people in general that chase after that type of thing, but I absolutely believe that there are women that will just be with him because he's Addison Rae's dad. Because I'm gonna be honest, like he's not all that in a bag of chips. Like he's just not, and he gives me like creepy, like we used to go to Dolphin Mall in Miami, and there used to be men that look just like Addison Rae's dad, just like sitting and watching us when we were like 16 years old. Like he gives me those vibes, and I can't imagine he would have too many suitors.
I need to show you this message. There's a text that leaked that he sent to the girl he was having an affair with, and it's like, hope this brightens your day.
Oh my god, I know what you're talking about. It's the worst. You know the emoji of the standing guy that people use when someone's just standing there awkwardly? That's what he looked like. He was just there like,
oh, that's a photo with her.
No. What? No. What? Is that Addison? Is that her mom?
No, that's the girl.
Oh my god, I thought that was Addison. Oh, I just shit my pants. I thought that was fucking Addison, Lily. I was like, breaking news.
Jesus, no. This is the 25-year-old, though, that he was having an affair with.
Why does she look like Addison? Listen, again, we have to just reiterate, there's nothing illegal going on here, but it certainly feels like it when you're looking at it.
And I know immediately after all of this came out, both Sherry and Sherry changes her, I don't know what it said before, but she changes her Instagram bio to single mom. Allegedly, Sherry and Addison both unfollowed the dad on Instagram.
So wait, Addison unfollowed her dad?
As far as I know, both her mom and Addison both unfollowed the dad.
I love that.
Which, I
mean,
mean,
my gosh. Well, then that means,
know.
yeah, she feels the way that we feel, which is like, fucking stop. This is embarrassing.
Yeah, like how I feel so bad. And all of the reactions have been like very like leaving her comment because she's basically acting like nothing happened and just posting anyway.
As she should. She doesn't have to like respond to this.
Oh, absolutely. But people are like, we support you. Sorry about your dad.
Oh my God, how fucking embarrassing.
I'm like, oh my, that's the thing. I'm like, I just feel so bad for her because we didn't even finish. So the Tana Mojo stuff, she starts name dropping him in the podcast finally and saying that's who it is.
You know what we should talk about? It's random, but it's just funny.
Addison Rae's dad?
Yes! I love when you read my mind!
That he just goes to all these clubs. And she was even saying what I was bringing up earlier with like, if you're underage or if you're like just 18 and your parents are coming with you to industry events, fine. That's not a big deal. She goes, this wasn't an industry event. This was Delilah. And Addison wasn't there.
This was also Delilah, which is like a club. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like it was like an event for something in the space where he's showing up to network. Like, he's showing up, allegedly, in my opinion, to do blow and try to fuck bitches and like drink.
This is the episode of the Clout Goblins, and he's just another one. He just wants, there's no reason why someone his age who has a family, I mean, whatever, you got a divorce or whatever, that's fine. But like at that point in your life, you shouldn't be acting like Logan Paul. Like you just shouldn't be. Like that should not be your priority. And I feel like obviously he got married, spent a lot of years with a woman, and like is now living out like his like 20s, it feels like he's just trying to pretend.
I guess. I was like, I am in my 30s and I want nothing less than to go to
Seriously.
Delilah and hang out.
Okay, but
so
are men are like, you know.
But which also makes me think like, does he know someone that like gets him in, or is he like paying to get in and paying using money from Addison
God,
from
I
his
don't
empire? Sorry. It's just all so gross.
is.
And then to think that he probably fucked up this whole relationship with his 25-year-old is hilarious. Like, I hope he did. Now you lost your family and your mistress.
I mean, literally, well, again, we don't know if it was an affair. We don't know if they were separated, But I will say, really? Like, you're so surprised that Addison Rae's dad cheated on you? Like, I don't know. Maybe he did a good job of, like, making her feel like she really was his queen, but, like, come on. It's a creepy old guy who wants to be with you. Like,
wait one sec. And where were they? Because she's from, like, kind of middle of nowhere, I think. She's from Louisiana. So maybe in Louisiana, they were both, like, hot shit, and he was, like, fine with it. And then he got to LA and, like, discovered that if you have money
yeah.
/ can, like, name drop your daughter as being Addison Rae. I guess that's a cool thing for some people.
Gross.
That is enough to get much younger than men are disgusting.
What is his name? All right, just fucking say what his name is. I don't know.
Monty Lopez.
Monty
Lopez.
Who's Ray then? Where's the last name Ray?
Actually, you know that just yesterday I was like, wait, then what's Addison's last name?
Is she Addison Lopez? Well, everyone always thinks my real name is
Addison
Jessi
Rae
Smiles,
Easterling.
and that is not my last name.
Which is funny because you know that's one of the first things I ever asked.
That's what a lot of people ask me that. They're like, is your real last name Smiles?
And then you're like, Jessica Vasquez.
Vasquez.
I'm like, who the fuck's Jessica?
I know. I don't like to be called Jessica. Like everyone my whole life has called me Jessi. But the Smiles thing was because of on Instagram, I wanted to change my username and I was like, I post pictures smiling. And I thought that was fucking epic. I was like, fucking yeah.
Honestly, it's funny because it's one of the few names that like, even like my Lil's channel with a Z, it's like, okay, how young were you when you made that? I feel like Jessi Smiles has really stood the test of time and it doesn't feel weird. It's just like your name. Yeah, so Monty Lopez and then Addison though that's interesting. Addison took her mom's last name, which is Easterling.
What? I mean, period. Like, I love that, but that's interesting. Okay. Anyway, I'm so sick of talking about Addison Rae.
Last topic I think we will touch on, which full disclosure and transparency, we actually filmed like if you want to call it a pilot for this whole series and did it like a week or so before, maybe even 2 weeks.
Why didn't we post that?
Because we thought it wasn't going to be topical, but then now I'm like, it would have been fine.
Wait, we filmed a whole... Wow, my memory is so shit. So we filmed an episode and it didn't go up?
Yeah, we filmed an entire first episode basically where our whole thing in the beginning was that we were each going to bring a topic that maybe the other didn't know about, but then we quickly realized that we both just know about everything, so that was a little harder to do. But we were both just going to bring a topic. So we were going to do 8 passengers and David and Jeff in the whole lawsuit situation, and we did, and it went well. I think the audio, maybe there were some issues.
Was that
but
it?
But I think we ended up scrapping it though, just because we thought it was going to be irrelevant.
It was going to be irrelevant. That's what it was.
Because 8 passengers like supposedly quit, even though I feel like that isn't even like we didn't need to mention that. It would have.
And now we're still going to talk about Jeff and David.
Exactly. So I was like, we definitely could have used that as the first episode, but now we're just even more informed.
That's right.
So we're going to revisit this topic.
Yeah, and first off, we want to say, do we know them? I do know David.
Yeah, tell us your history with the Vlog Squad because our teasers did show some pictures.
Yeah, so there's not much to say. I've met David twice. One time was way before he started on YouTube, so it was like back in the Vine days, and I went to his apartment and was with all of them there, and that was fine. And then I met him again years later at Playlist, and he was nice, and that was my only interaction with him. I've had a lot more interaction with like the Vlog Squad in general, not with Jeff. I've never met Jeff. But like Scotty and Todd and Zane and Heath. Zane and Heath, you want to know a really weird side story about Zane and Heath? Back in the day, they were the second people I ever met off of Vine. So that's even I was going to say earlier is that it's so strange because I never watched Vine that like we've talked it like it's crazy that I didn't have any clue you were before YouTube or anything, but I forget that all of them pretty much got like, isn't it pretty much the entire Vlog Squad got their start from Vine? The entire, I mean, Scotty, all of them were on Vine, like from the early days.
So it's not even like they just like started collab, like they've all been friends for a very long time.
Yeah, well, the thing is that at the very least always knew of each other. It's not that they always hung out in that group, but then like once everybody moved to LA, they were always friends, like way before David started his channel. But so I met Zane and Heath and I collabed with them because, you know, back in the day on Vine, it would be very Christy Carlson Romano. And it would just be like, let's get together. Let's film Vines, whatever. Listen, guys, this was a long time ago. I'm not here trying to start any drama. They made me cry. It was so bad. Okay, we've since made up. We were friends after this and like all of that, but they were so mean to me that I was like shook. So I was with my friend Charlie Classic, and they just when I got started on Vine, I was gonna say TikTok. When I got started on Vine,
you have lived so many lives before I met you.
I know, I really have. So when I first started off, I started off with like it was called like Twerk for Jessi Smiles. Oh my God, so cringe. But basically it was like a satire situation. It wasn't like literally, you know, I want to twerk or I'm gonna, you know, it was like me trying to be funny. A lot of people got like, that was a trending hashtag, and Philip DeFranco made like shirts for me, like merch that said Twerk for Jessi, like Jessi Smiles that he wanted to.
DeFranco?
Yeah, it was a whole thing. So
Dude, literally, who were
I know.
you?
But so it was a big thing, whatever. And a lot of the men of Vine were so fucking mean to me. And we're just saying like, we don't get why the fuck you're even big or any of that. Like people would constantly, it was not a weird event for someone to just like wake up that day and just be a fucking dick to me on Twitter. Like for no reason. It's like, okay, what the fuck did I do to you? Because I was like, remember, I was getting big like fast. So I got like the first 1 million followers was in less than a month, and they did not like that.
How did you? What one popped off?
It was the
to give you a
twerking
million?
one. So it was essentially, it was talking about.
Do you have it still? Can
No, I don't know. And I don't want you to go fishing for it. Okay.
You have it. I could find
No.
it.
But basically, my first Vine that blew up was, it was me saying the shit guys care about. And it was like, it was alluding to like, men don't want to hear us talk. They just want to see us twerk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like a joke about that's what men want. Something stupid. I don't fucking remember. Okay. Yeah. But that's what took off. And so I guess that, I don't know, whatever. Point is, Zayn and Heath made so many comments to me when we hung out that time about like how essentially I wasn't funny at all. And if I wasn't pretty, nobody would give a fuck. And like, they were making so many comments like that of like, oh yeah, like I wish I could just get there, shake my ass and like people would follow. Like things like that over and over and over again. Oh my God, I left there and I was sobbing.
And they were serious?
They were serious. Yeah, it wasn't even like like they were laughing.
Did it feel like how like when old people are like, oh, must be nice to do nothing.
Exactly like that. Exactly like that. And I was so caught off guard because I wasn't expecting that, especially from people who like were from Florida. Like they were from Fort Lauderdale. And I was like, I don't know. I just didn't expect that. Like I was like, why would you hang out with me to like demean me? Like it was fucked up.
Well, and not to be like how many followers? I
don't know, but it was less than me.
Exactly. So I was like, why were they being so shitty to you if you were kind of like almost doing them a favor?
I don't know, honestly. And listen, again,
like they wanted to collab with you.
Yeah.
Right?
And we did. And we collabed. And, you know, after that, I want to say that we talked that out like years later. Like I was like, you guys were fucking dicks. And I'm sure they apologized. And ever since have become like much nicer. Like every time I've been with Zayn and Heath later on, they were way less like, I think everybody had their diva moment on Vine. I definitely had my diva moment because I was such a fucking like loser in high school, and then all of a sudden you're given millions of followers. You're like, wait, am I amazing? Like, I guess
I think it was such it's one of the first big social media, I mean YouTube as well, but I think those both were the first time that anyone that was just like a normal person had access to suddenly get famous and get 1 million followers in a month. Like that was so unheard of that I can't imagine, not to be like, oh my God, poor them, like forgive them for any shitty thing that they've ever done. But I can't imagine that doesn't have like a severe psychological effect on you to go from being just like, oh, I have my normal friends, to having millions and millions of people be following you. Like that would fuck with your ego and boost it to thinking that you're,
and I remember
hot shit, especially when you're like 20.
I mean, and when I did, you know, I don't really like to think back on that time too much with like the meetup that I had in New York with, you know, but it was
he who must not be named.
but when I look at scenarios like that, like it was fucking insane. We're talking thousands and thousands of people swarming.
You were like pulling more people than actual celebrities,
and there were celebrities
like
there to be a part of it, like Neve from Catfish and stuff. Like all those people came and like flew out to go and be there. I mean, that's literally so bizarre to think about, but it was such a crazy time. And that's why I like give people like that, like, you know, like Zayn and Heath, I give them grace because it's like, I'm sure I said some stupid shit to someone and like didn't see it as like, you know, I was just like in a cloud of Vine and followers and stuff at one point as well. And I think they just were. And then again, after I hung out with them multiple times. They never really made me feel uncomfortable after that. We were friends for years. I don't know. I'm nervous sharing this, okay? The point is that that's my history with the Vlog Squad. And then I've gone on like trips. So like when I did Bonnaroo for a brand deal, I stayed in the house with Todd and Scott because they were also part of the brand deal. And, you know, we've hung out like a lot of times. And that is about my extent with the Vlog Squad, but not so much with David, I would say.
You hung out with more of the Vlog Squad, but it was pre-David Vlog Squad.
Correct.
It was like before they had really
way before
all joined forces. So you haven't seen them, like, have you seen them vlogging?
I've never seen them vlogging, but at Playlist, it was actually just to pinpoint the time. It was when I was pregnant with Noah and like David had like a cast on. So I guess he had broken his arm. He was there in the little section I was in with Zane and Heath and everybody, and they were all together, but they were not filming. So
you've never seen them like in action of like
no, but I can imagine.
I don't know,
because I also remember what it was like to film with Jason and Brandon Calvillo, and like when they all get together and they're filming content, it's very Vlog Squad vibes. So like I do recall those days, like when we were all filming Vines and stuff.
So chaotic.
It is chaotic, honestly, and it's just too much for me. Honestly, I hated hanging out with other influencers who like wanted to film so much content. I don't know, it's draining just to think about.
Well, and everyone's trying to get it for themselves.
Yeah.
I guess just not to backtrack anymore, done with this part of the conversation, but I am just curious, do you feel like in general were you specifically just getting a lot of misogynistic hateful comments and stuff, not just from Zayn and them, but like online you said you got a lot?
Yeah.
Was that in general to girls, you think, or was just
well
you?
That's a hard one.
Like, did you feel specifically targeted?
I did feel specifically targeted for many reasons throughout Vine, but I will say that people like Lele Pons have always been shitted on because of her like humor, like it's like little kid humor and it's not funny. But like despite that, Lele as an example, or Amanda Cerny, great example, would get in with the men of Vine, and they would be very catering to the men of Vine, and they do it now on Instagram, and they get in with those guys, so they never got what I got.
So if the fans saw that they were like, oh well, like Logan Paul thinks she's cool, so she must be.
Literally.
So it was like if they had the clout from the guys, then it was fine, but if you didn't have the approval from them,
then you were not funny, you were fat, just every fucking bullshit that they could bring, they would bring it, and I got it heavy on Vine.
On my side, I have never met any of the guys. I maybe have been like in their presence at some point. Scotty I met like in passing when he was dating Kristen. But I've only ever hung out with the girls' side, some of which are not in it anymore. Definitely never seen any of them in the environment of David filming his vlogs. And not even necessarily from them, but I've only heard like whispers of what it's kind of like and what the dynamic is like. And I know that like that they don't get paid, for example. And I think so many of those little things, and like how he basically has everyone just on call and ready to do whatever he asks, so much of that is important leading into the story of what happened with Jeff, which if you're unfamiliar and you want to see the clip, which it's very graphic, don't necessarily recommend if you're...
I've never watched it.
I have, and it's a lot. There's Jeff's documentary you can watch, and then I'm sure the clip is elsewhere online, but basically they went to Utah, I think, and they were recreating, they had seen a video of this guy doing like a stunt where they had an excavator, which is like a giant construction crane. They put it in like 2 foot deep water and then spin it around so you can wakeboard. They have a rope connected and they have a wakeboard going around it. This was all also like David had taken a hiatus, I guess, from vlogging, and this was going to be his return. And leading up to it, I guess Jeff, Natalie, and Todd were all doing these like, it was this super intensive skydiving thing. I guess they spent like weeks at this skydiving camp where they were like jumping multiple times a day, because David's whole thing was this next season of vlogs, we have to step it up, and they're going to be doing stunts. So right off the bat, like Jeff prefaces a lot of that in that's in Jeff's documentary. And it's interesting because his whole reason for bringing it up is that by the time they got to this excavator stunt where they're wakeboarding around, he was like, I've been jumping out of planes for months. Like, this is nothing. Like, I didn't even think twice about it. But even back to the plane thing, obviously when you go do any kind of skydiving thing, you have to sign liability releases in case something happens. I'm sure they were just signing for themselves. I don't feel like David provided them with insurance or anything for any of that, which that alone is crazy because he had them do it. Like like Natalie even says in one of the documentaries, like, yeah, I was down to do it because I got a week off work. Like, okay, so, but what about if something happened? Was he going to cover it? Or was it just like, hopefully he would cover it because you would assume he would? Well, maybe that's not the case, because then after Jeff decides that he's been skydiving and that's not a big deal, he lets David tell him to get on this rope connected to the excavator, which does not have a wakeboard attached. So his foot is like in a loop of it, and they start just swinging Jeff around it. I don't know if David was the one that there's so many questions that lead into this because, spoiler alert, Jeff is now suing him for $10 million.
As he should.
Before we even get into the legal case, you have to even think of the stuff that went into, did David rent the excavator? If he did, I would have to assume it requires some kind of like training or something. I'm going to guess he didn't do that. And then even if he did, I'm going to guess on it, it probably doesn't say operate with one hand while you have your other hand vlogging.
You don't think so?
I'm going to guess no. It's an educated guess. I'm not like totally positive, but I would bet my life on it.
What kind of fucking shot was he even getting that made this worth it?
And this is so not a big deal, but I think it's so funny because I feel like in multiple videos now, I have heard not just David, but like Natalie or someone, even Jeff describing it as David going, oh, the shot, it looks so beautiful. It's so cinematic. Name me one David Dobrik vlog that is cinematic. Like, that's not...
I think that he thought very highly of his vlogs and did expect the world of the vlog squad. Like, you need to do what I need you to do when I need you to do it, which is insane because he was not paying them. He was not doing anything that would have made that worth it for them, other than giving them obviously the clout that they got that has allowed them to kind of go individually into their own channels. Sure, whatever, there's an argument to be made there, but like 100% he really expected so fucking much.
But the fact that then they're trying to act like it wasn't like them trying to get it because it was like, oh, that's a cool stunt that you're doing. Not like, I guess, the cinematic shot with the water in the background. No, that wasn't why you were doing it. It was just the way they phrased it was very not like, no, you wanted him to do a cool stunt.
Yeah. And honestly, just long story short, the machine has this feature that if it spins and spins and spins and spins, it's going to stop abruptly because it's a safety measure.
Another
that
thing you would learn in any kind of safety or certification class, I would assume.
Right. Basically, it stopped suddenly. Jeff slammed into the excavator and he's had like 9 surgeries. I think he's like almost blind in one eye. He's had like brain damage and shit. It's just the worst case scenario other than death, I think, happened. And I have to say that like David is so lucky that it happened to Jeff. I mean, now he's obviously being sued, but he wasn't gonna be sued. Jeff, for the longest time, rode for David, which he really didn't have to do, and just kind of forgave him and basically told David, pay my medical bills and we'll call it even, which is insane. And then apparently David started falling behind on paying those medical bills. That pissed Jeff off.
How is that gonna, like, if you had someone as gracious as Jeff, like you just literally were the person responsible for potentially ruining his life, and you have shit tons of money, and the only thing you have to do to prevent this from getting worse is just be a friend and pay for his you're
forgetting that. And something that's been pretty evident from David is that he is super, super selfish. And I think that because he did so many brand deals, let's not forget all of the times that he donated Teslas and he donated to the homeless and he donated all of those things. Those videos were sponsored. And what you guys need to understand is that there is so much fucking money in sponsorships. You cannot even conceptualize it unless you've lived it. Like, this is insane.
Also,
and so you have no idea.
On top of that, his brand deals are not even what normal influencers deal with, because I've heard from reliable sources that, so for example, if I wanted to do a brand deal and I gave away a car, basically what they're paying you for is your distribution and like getting eyeballs on it. They're not, you can add in, like if they needed you to like go film something in the middle of the desert or like in Utah, that you could ask for like additional budget for production. Generally, they're just giving you like a lump sum that includes everything and we're paying for you to make it. For David, he would get that, but then he'd also be like, but I'm not doing it unless you also throw in a Tesla. So then it's not even like he would be taking the Tesla out of his earnings from his brand deal. He also then is requesting this additional, like, oh, I need $100,000 because I need to also give my friend a Tesla. And honestly, he was getting enough views that brands would be okay with that. So he's not even operating like a normal influencer. He's getting anything he asks for.
Yeah, and what's weird is that I, as someone who has been in this space for a while, I've done a lot of brand deals, I've worked with a lot of brands, I actually got sucked into it because at that time when I would see his videos where he was giving the money to homeless people and the cars and stuff, I was like, that's kind of nice. But now I look back at it and I'm like, no, dude, he was paid hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. He profited in every single video where he gave something away. And he's not this dude who just does things out of the kindness of his heart. I'm not saying that nothing, you know, was done out of a nice place, but most of the time he profited off of it. So I mean, I don't know. I just feel like
that's a whole other conversation you can have when it's like same with how people, like when they film homeless people, like they're giving them money, so that's a positive thing. But if you're filming it, like if the attention is not as genuine as the act, then it's questionable. Yeah. It's like he's done things that I think people, it has changed their lives, so I'm glad he did it. But yes, I think it's important that everyone know it wasn't just like because he could. It was like, no, he did it because those videos fucking killed it, and anyone could watch that. My mom could watch one of the videos where he gives away laptops and think it's cute. So it's also interesting because that's a lot of the time, I think, when he really blew up and people first got introduced to him. Because I, at one point actually it was probably around then because everyone was talking about him all the time, and I went back and started watching like original ones, and my immediate reaction was, oh my God, this is so inappropriate. How has he not been canceled yet? Because of just there's a ton of racist stuff in there, but more than anything, so much sexist stuff which makes sense now that you had the Zayn and, who was it all? Heath? Now you told the Zayn and Heath story, because they were so mean to Corinna in all of the beginning ones. And I just remember being like, is she okay with this? This is so strange.
I bet you she's not, but it's so uncomfortable when you're in that environment that you just laugh and
she was like hometown friends with them. So I do get when there's a different dynamic that like it would come across differently to other people because they don't know you're kidding as much as you are, but not appropriate. And then he got all these followers, and it continued, like his inappropriate stuff continued for a very long time until he had to address. And every time he addressed it, it was not a good way of doing so. It was very like, sorry if you were offended and sorry if you were mad I took the video down.
He is someone that in general I would just classify from my perspective as a pretty selfish person. And I think that he did not realize the golden ticket that he was handled, because I mean, he could have easily been charged with manslaughter. Like Jeff could have easily died. It's not just like, oh, you know, anything could have happened. No, Jeff literally could have died if just, what was it, like a millimeter had been off. Like, he could have just been dead. So
broken open. Like so here's the thing is what I'm curious about with David is because I think he might, and this doesn't excuse it by any stretch of the imagination, and he should have someone set him straight, but I kind of feel like David is treating this whole thing like it was a bunch of friends that went snowboarding and one of them broke their arm. So it's like, well, the friend chose to go snowboarding, so it doesn't matter that I was filming a video of us all doing it because like he wanted to do it. And I'm like,
that's you speculating, but it's not so much speculation, because when you look at David's interview or whatever with Casey Neistat, he pretty much makes it known that he does believe it's Jeff's fault.
Or at least he tries to plant a lot of seeds. And not just even in that, but then he did that follow-up podcast, his own podcast, where he continued to talk about it for way too long. And he had Jason
that was so
and Natalie.
Cringe with Jason
and then
Nash.
they were just like, basically like nodding like, oh, you're right. Yes. I just don't think he can grasp. If this was a TV show, you would not be able to do anything without insurance. Do you know, we would get turned down from doing things for Clever that were not even dangerous, but it was just like, oh, the liability is too much. Sorry, we can't. If he never has any liability releases that he's getting signed, or any kind of insurance people like trying to analyze any of these stunts that he's about to do, which apparently this whole new season of his vlog is going to be these crazy stunts. Did he get anyone to look into the skydiving, because then I definitely don't think he got anyone to look at this excavator thing. And it's like, I don't understand how you could possibly think this wasn't a friend's trip. They wouldn't have gone if you weren't filming your vlog, and he wouldn't have done it if you weren't filming your vlog.
Oh, there's just 100% Jeff's gonna win this case. Like, there is so much evidence, and David is fucked. So David's only hope was that Jeff would not do anything, and Jeff is very much like H3 is always making jokes about it, Ethan, where he's always just like, Jeff's like, I'm not gonna tell you nothing, like my lips aside, like it's like, yeah, I ain't no snitch. So that's literally how Jeff is.
Well, he's
Jeff
from
is
Miami and
very
used to be a drug dealer, I guess. So it's like he wanted to be low key about it all.
Well, yeah, Jeff went to prison, which I think kind of instilled this mentality of like snitches get stitches. And so he was very much so going to let this slide, which I think he is one of the only people in the world who would let this slide, because I certainly would not have let this slide.
But also what's sad is that I'm sure that, and this is again just my assumption because I don't know him, but I can't imagine Jeff doesn't also feel guilt about it, thinking that it's like, well, I chose to do it, so this is partially my fault.
Of course he does. Yeah,
so it's
of
like,
course he does. I think that he genuinely saw David as a friend, and I know this is kind of harsh to say, but I think that David is a little bit too selfish, a little too self-absorbed to really be a true friend to any of these people. I think that he maybe thinks that he is, but he's very much so looking out for himself, and it's really evident in this case, because let me tell you something. Forget about this happening, this is like traumatic. If anything happened to any of my friends, if one of you guys, came to my house and we're not filming anything, and like you break your fucking arm here, I'm gonna feel awful. Like, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, like, what the fuck? And I just don't feel like David has that capability. I feel like he's so like in his own head in a cloud of just David. That's all he cares about.
When you've gotten that big, and you have to have like, I don't know if he has a manager, but he has to have like agents and like people that are weighing in on his career in some capacity as some kind of team. How has no one been like, hey, we need to get some more like legal insurance stuff in place because you guys are doing some crazy shit? Whoa. And like, because it's not like this is the first time anything's happened. Like it's never been anything that serious, but there have been injuries or like questionable scenarios in the past that you would think that would have triggered them to be like, maybe we should take some extra steps to be safe about this. But he didn't. And then the fact that even now he's trying, like, he doesn't realize how big of a problem that is, because like I have a friend that in college, she has a house in Havasu, which is not that far from ASU. We'd go pretty often, so she'd bring different groups of people, and every single time we went, her dad, who's a business owner and like very smart guy, but he'd have a bunch of releases ready for us to sign because they have jet skis and four-wheelers and all of the like equipment and stuff, and we're gonna be drinking. So it's like if someone operates that drunk or not and is just like careless about it and gets hurt, her dad's not gonna be the one paying the hospital bills because you were stupid, because he did not tell you to do that and he was not filming a vlog. Well, so it's like he has the foresight though as like just a family man to be like, hey, I don't want to be responsible for all these like drunk college kids. We all signed that when we first got there, and that was normal. So the fact that David doesn't have that when he's running an actual production where he's pulling in millions for what his
we don't know, and I think that this lawsuit's going to tell us a lot more, because there's a lot of like holes that haven't been filled because Jeff's tight lips, like he's still not letting us know the details. And obviously I think now he probably can't because everything is a legal situation. But like, I think that the lawsuit itself is going to unveil a lot about what David actually had going on, because I do feel like it was the most like rookie fucking shit show of an operation. And if he hasn't rectified that yet and he's gonna do any sort of stunts, I think he might just be the dumbest person on earth. Like if he keeps doing this shit,
he should have all of that stuff in place even if they're not doing stunts. And then the fact, like, for something like that, there should have been like literally a stunt coordinator there. Like that isn't, I don't know how he's that, like he's not 19. Like he's old enough to know that these are dangerous things. And I mean, I agree that everyone else involved should have maybe been like, maybe we shouldn't just do whatever David says. But that doesn't change the fact that he is at fault.
Yeah, I don't know. It's such a shitty situation, but ultimately, good for Jeff. I'm totally team Jeff on this one. Like, he should have done this a long time ago, but I think it's not going to affect him at all, the fact that he didn't. And I think he has a really good case, and I think he's going to fucking win, and David's going to lose a shit ton of money.
Also, speaking of the case, though, I do not know if this has been actually confirmed, but did you hear that supposedly, and I watched a clip, I just don't know how real the clip is, of Johnny Depp's lawyers leaving the courthouse one day, and one of them walks up to the other and says, just had a call with David Dobrik and it went great.
I had a great talk with David Dobrik.
I didn't hear all of that in the clip because I've seen it, but I did hear the name David Dobrik. Like, I wasn't able to make out the rest.
Whatever I watched, it didn't confirm he was a client, but it definitely confirmed that they were talking to him as a potential client. If that's the case, did you watch the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial?
I saw some of it. Yeah.
I watched too much of it. So much of it that interested me wasn't even necessarily anything with Johnny and Amber. It was to watch the lawyers, because basically I'm curious because Johnny Depp's lawyers came out looking like fucking rock stars. But I had so many thoughts during where I was like, are they really that good? Or is it that Amber's team is just really, really bad?
Because I thought that a billion
honestly,
times.
like, her team was like mispronouncing basic words that they were like part of their main defense, and like their papers everywhere. They were just a mess.
I really just doubt that they're gonna be his lawyers, but I guess you never know. But I will say that their only defense is to try to prove that this was basically Jeff's complete idea. But even if it was his idea, even if it was like, hey, please put me on this excavator, it was still David operating it, and that's
exactly.
where boom.
And operating it, not just like, whoops, I turned it the wrong way. It was one hand holding a camera, not knowing.
Super negligent.
And then if we find out later that also he wasn't certified to be driving or even supposed to be, then that's going to take it even further. So I think the only way David would ever get away with it is by some kind of like legal loopholes where
for sure
it's a language that makes him not responsible.
Yeah. Anyway.
I feel like that's probably enough for today. Moving forward, I swear, hopefully, God forbid that this does not go up on a Sunday. I will be mortified.
It will.
You guys, we tried so hard. I can't even explain to you.
But it felt so defeating to not be able to get it up on Sunday. Like, I was extremely defeated and I had so much anxiety. But you know what? Here we are.
Watch it. I was about to like screen record my editing program. But
but
anyway, we're trying. We need a routine in our lives. So this is giving us something to like have every week. And we're really glad you guys are liking it, and we want to know all of your suggestions. If you liked this multiple topic kind of thing, let us know.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next Sunday and every Sunday after that.
Yes. So leave comments for what you want to hear, like the video, share the video, do all of the things.
All of them.
Thank you for being here. We love you.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.